Realized that this person was incapable of molesting or harming any child.
Jackson was indicted on 10 felony counts of conspiracy and child molestation against a 13-year-old cancer survivor who stayed with him at his Neverland Ranch. For Mesereau, this was one of the final brutal attacks on the performer, attacks that had lasted more than a decade, attacks that, in Mesereau's opinion, struck at the core of Michael Jackson. While the news media concentrates for years on publicizing what they dub the obsessive behavior of the eccentric artist, Mesereau notices a preoccupation from another source. The prosecution team, headed by Santa Barbara County District Attorney Tom Sneddon.
I do think he was obsessed to the point of absurdity. And I think that what really proves that is the fact that he would ask a grand jury to indict Michael Jackson for conspiracy to abduct children, to falsely imprison a family, to commit criminal extortion, in addition to these, false allegations of child molestation.
In his view, Michael Jackson was using Neverland as a sinister place to lure children in, and he was never going to be swayed from his view, because I'm the law in Santa Barbara County.
Paul Rodriguez was the jury foreman in Michael Jackson's 2005 molestation trial.
Why do you think that the DA wanted to go after so many various charges on Michael Jackson?
He just came across like he was just trying to do anything he could to persuade us to look at things his way regardless of the evidence, but he just wanted, it's almost like he had a vendetta against him. And one way or another, I'm going to get you before I retire.
Reporters turned the 2005 Michael Jackson trial into a media circus. Attorney Tom Mesereau's research into the case convinces him that defending Jackson may be a major personal risk, but one worth taking.
When you took this case, people thought that it was unwinnable. They thought that you were crazy to represent Michael Jackson.
I had friends and colleagues tell me that the rest of my career would be defined by the Michael Jackson trial, and that it was unwinnable, and that if he went to prison, that everywhere in the world my face would be vilified. It didn't take me very long to figure out that these claims were complete fabrications, that Michael Jackson was completely innocent of everything he was charged with.
4 years later, Jackson is dead. The Los Angeles County coroner rules Michael Jackson's death a homicide caused by acute intoxication following lethal levels of sedatives combined with the anesthetic propofol. For Mesereau, the cause of death goes beyond what happened the day Jackson died. Those events simply represent the culmination of 16 years of torture that Jackson endured. A period that begins with a separate case back in 1993.
From Investigation Discovery, this is an ID News Minute.
Good evening. To attempt to understand Michael Jackson, the child. In the mid and late 1960s, Michael Jackson was the lead singer for one of the most popular and successful groups in the country, the Jackson 5.
Michael joined the group when he was 5, but the group didn't get signed to Motown where they really had any money until he was 11. So you have 6 years of Joe, taking the kids everywhere and having them perform and sleep in hotel rooms.
It was the extraordinary dedication to work that Michael embraced at this young age that would lead him to be one of the greatest entertainers in the world. His focus on excellence brought him to heights never seen by any other performer. And the fruits of those labors were never more apparent than where Michael Jackson was in 1993. He has an $890 million contract with Sony. His Bad and Dangerous World Tours have become the 2 largest grossing concerts of all time. But despite all his success, Michael never loses sight of something that matters to him a great deal, being sure that those less fortunate than him are given a chance. Those who knew Michael Jackson, especially those who knew him in the early part of his career, believed that Jackson had solid values and was sincere. One of those people is Joanne Horowitz.
To me, he was a normal guy. He really, truly was a nice guy. No airs, no attitude. I don't think in all the publicity that's come out, you never hear about Michael having a temper. You never hear about him yelling at anybody. You know, he was genuinely a nice person.
I think people are curious about who is Michael Jackson and who was he in his lifetime. You know, he didn't fit into any particular culture.
When I met him, he was a practicing Jehovah's Witness. They don't drink or do drugs or anything. Back when I met him, it was a pretty innocent time.
When we were in Europe and we were doing the Bad Tour, every city we went to a children's hospital and bought them a piece of equipment. Not one hospital for the whole tour. Every city.
Was that Michael's idea?
Yeah. They had a little boy that was dying and wanted to meet Michael. And Michael went up and talked to him, and the kid perked up, and it was like amazing. And I went off to the corner. I cried. I really couldn't take it. And Michael came over and put his arm around me and said, "You have to understand, Frank, this is our job. Not on the stage. This is our job, to make somebody feel good." He believed that. He absolutely believed that.
It is at this time in 1992 that Michael has a chance encounter that will change his life forever. Driving down Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles, Michael's car breaks down. Disguised in a black turban, scarf, and mirrored sunglasses, he walks to a nearby rental car facility where he meets a woman and her 12-year-old son, Jordan Chandler. The three hit it off, and a friendship begins.
He wanted to hang around kids because they were fun, and they didn't want anything from him. You know, he could have stupid balloon fights, and he could, do food fights, and do all these silly things because, like when he was a kid, he was kind of like Benjamin Buttons. When he was a kid, he was a grown-up. And then when he was a grown-up, he was a kid.
Paulina Kokos was a juror in the 2005 Jackson trial. She tells Aphrodite Jones that Michael's relationship with children was an innocent one.
The relationship that was between the kids and Michael Jackson was genuine. He obviously adored children. It wasn't sexually. It was more of a heartfelt admiration that he maybe was jealous of their childhood.
Jackson invites the mother and son to visit him at Neverland, his sprawling 2,600-acre ranch in Santa Barbara County. They soon become a part of the pop star's entourage, traveling with him in private jets and staying in luxury hotels, a lifestyle reserved for royalty. At the time, the mother is divorced and involved in a heated custody battle over her son, Jordy. The boy's father, Evan Chandler,